everyone, as you all know, NTA UGC NET December 2020, June 2021 cycles and a provisional answer key release ചെയ്തിരിക്കുകയാണ്. So ഈ വീഡിയോയിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിന് ആഫ്റ്റർനൂൺ ഷിഫ്റ്റിൽ ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ജനറൽ പേപ്പറിലെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിനകത്തെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഏതൊക്കെയാണ്, ആ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് വന്നിരിക്കുന്ന ഏരിയാസ് ഏതൊക്കെയാണ്, അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ നമുക്കിപ്പോൾ ലഭിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ആൻസർ കീയിൽ അവർ തന്നിരിക്കുന്ന ആൻസർ ഏതാണ്, ഇത്രയും കാര്യങ്ങളായിരിക്കും ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് പോകുന്നത്. So firstly, we will be discussing the questions from data interpretation. So as you all know, we have given a table which contains the data, and we have 5 different questions that were asked from this particular data that is given. So as we have already discussed in our previous videos, these questions were particularly focused from 3 important areas that we have to study under data interpretation, that were ratios, average and also percentage. So we will be just checking the questions. We will be first looking at the data that is given here. Study the given table carefully and answer the questions that follow. The given table has the number of students enrolled for different courses in 5 different years along with their male and female categorization. So based on this particular data, we have the first question that goes like this. Find out the ratio between male students of BA and BCom during 2016 to 2020. So this particular question is from the ratios, right? So as I have already mentioned, all the questions that were asked for this particular shift were focusing on ratio, average and percentage, and this particular question is focusing on the ratio, and you have 4 different options given as well, and according to the professional answer key, the right answer for this question is option D. Here you have the second question, that is find out the average of difference between male and female students for the BA course during 2016 to 2020. As I have already mentioned, we have given 4 different options. So if you consider this particular question, it asks us to find out the average of difference between male and female students. So this is based on average, and if we consider the options here, it goes like option A is 105.3, B is 107.4, C is 108.8, and then we have option D, that is 109.2. So the right answer for this question is option C. Moving to the next question, it goes like this. Find out the ratio between the percentage increase of male students and the percentage increase of female students from 2016 to 2017, and we have different options that are given as well. So we have to find out the ratio between the percentage increase of male students and percentage increase of female students from 2016 to 2017. So the right answer for this particular question is option D. Next question, which year has the minimum percentage increase of male students in the college including all courses? And we have given various options. We have different years given as 2017, 2018, 2019 and 2020, and we have to find out the year in which the minimum percentage increase of male students in the college was or the college has a minimum percentage increase of male students. That is the question, and the right answer for this question is option C, that is 2019. Okay. And this is the final question that was asked from data interpretation. Find out the total number of male students in the college during 2018 to 2020. Very direct question, and we have various options given as well. 3,479, 3,480, 3,481 and finally 3,482. So the right answer given in the provisional answer key for this particular question is option A, that is 3,479. Alright. Moving to the next question, this is a match the following question in which you have two lists given. In list 1 you have the network addresses and in list 2 you have the respective layers. So, basically this question is from the module ICT, Information and Communication Technology. Various network addresses and the respective layers are given here. We have to find out the correct match. So, that is a question, and you have given various combinations as well. So, if you consider these options, we can say that IP address can be matched with 2, that is network layer, and then you have MAC address that is associated with data link layer. So, B is 4, and then you have C, that is socket address, and socket address can be matched with transport layer, that is option 3, and URL address that can be applied or that can be associated with option 1. So, A2, B4, C3 and D1, that is option C. So, the right answer for this question is option C. Moving to the next question, again this is a match the following question, and this particular question is from the module teaching aptitude. So, if you consider the question here, you have given two different lists. List 1 we have Erickson's stages of psychological development, and in list 2 you have the relevant illustration. So, if you consider the module teaching aptitude, in that we have to study the various theories, various concepts that are associated with teaching. Particularly this theory is basically associated with the psychological foundations that can be related to teaching. Okay. So, Erickson's stage of psychological development, we have various stages given here: basic trust versus basic mistrust, industry versus inferiority, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation. And in list 2 we have the relevant illustrations as well, which includes parenting or mentoring, love relationships, school and feeding. So, if you know which are the various stages of psychological development which was proposed by Erickson, then this question will be very easier for you. Anyway, the right answer for this question is option C, that is A4, B3, C2 and D1. Alright. Moving to the next question, given below are two statements, one is labeled as assertion and the other is labeled as reason. So, this is an assertion reason question, and if you consider the statements that are given here, you can easily understand that this question is from the module logical reasoning and particularly from Indian logic. So, if you consider the assertion given here, Naiyayikas do not accept non-apprehension or anupalabdhi as a distinct source of knowledge. We can call it as the source of knowledge can be called as pramanas, and Reason R says according to Naiyayikas non-apprehension can be covered under inference or anumana. So, as I have already mentioned, this is particularly from the module logical reasoning and from Indian logic, if you specifically look into this particular statements that are given here. Obviously, if you consider this particular options that are given, the right answer for this question is option C, that is both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. So, the right answer here is option C. Moving to the next question, given below are two statements, one is labeled as assertion A and the other is labeled as reason R. Assertion says environmental education makes individuals aware of environmental issues, explore and analyze causes and effectiveness of the issues and promotes environmental sustainability. And reason says it is very essential to think and act creatively to become technically capable and trained to approach environmental issues in a proactive manner. So, this particular question is from the module people development and environment, and also this is a very general question as well. So, the right answer which was given for this particular question from NTA's part was option D, that is both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. So, both the statements are correct, but we cannot say that the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion that is given there. So, the right answer for this question is option D. Moving to the next question. Which one of the following is not an objective of higher education? So, this particular question is from the module higher education, but this is basically a very basic, very general question. So, if you consider the options here, we have career development, improving literacy levels, research and teaching. So, the question here is we have to find out from the options an objective which is not a part of higher education. So, if you consider the options here, we can easily say that that is option B, that is improving literacy levels, that is not a part of the objectives of higher education. So, the right answer for this question is option B. Next question again from higher education. So, question goes like this: destiny of India is being shaped in her classrooms. This is stated in, and you have the options: Education Commission, NKC report, NP 1986 and University Education Commission. So, in which report or in which commission we can found this particular statement, that this destiny of India is being shaped in her classrooms, and it was mentioned in the Education Commission. So, the right answer for this question is option A. Moving to the next question, when you look into this question itself, you can find out the area or the module from which this question has came, right. So, this is from mathematical reasoning and aptitude, and the question goes like this: two trains are moving in same direction at 60 km per hour and 45 km per hour. The faster train passes a girl sitting in the slower train in 15 seconds. The length of the faster train is, and this is associated with the problems that are coming from this train related problems. So, we have different options given as well: 165 meter, 22.5 meter, 225 meter and finally 62.5 meter. So, the right answer given in the provisional answer key for this particular question is option D, that is 62.5 meter. Next question: if the research is to be conducted on very young children or inarticulate persons, which one of the following methods will be appropriate in this situation? So, obviously, this question is from research aptitude, and you have the options: case history, experiment, observation and survey. So, the question asks us to find out the best method that we can use to study or we can use to do a research among very young children or the people who cannot speak. So, which is the most appropriate way or which is the most appropriate technique that we can use among these kind of groups or these type of people if we are doing a research among them. So, the right answer for this question is option C, that is observation. So, that is option C. Moving to the next question, that is from the module communication, and the question goes like this: identify the correct sequence of the following types of visual communication. So, you have given various options here, and you have to find out the correct sequence of the options that are given here. So, this question is from the module communication and particularly from the area types of visual communication. So, if you consider the options here, we have objects, maps, graphs, photographs and models, and we have various options given as well, from which we have to identify the correct sequence of the various types of visual communication. So, the right answer given is option B. A, E, C, B and D is the right sequence that is given in the answer key. So, the right answer for this question is option B. Next question, this is from the area or the module higher education. So, the question goes like this: NSFO organizes qualification according to series of levels of, and you have the options: knowledge, skills, aptitude, knowledge, skills, experience, skills, achievement and aptitude, and finally skills, experience and aptitude. So, this is a very direct question. So, if you know the answer, you can easily score mark for this question. So, what is the various qualifications? So, the series of levels that are mentioned in NSFO's qualification list. So, that is option A, knowledge, skills and aptitude. So, the right answer for this question is option A. Next question, again this is from mathematical reasoning and aptitude, and this is a question that is associated with the area age related problem. So, if you consider the question, it goes like this: 6 years ago, the ratio of the ages of Ravi and Lakshmi was 6:5. 4 years hence, the ratio will be 11:10. Ravi's age at present is, and you have the options: 10 years, 12 years, 16 years and 18 years. So, as I have already mentioned, this is from the module mathematical reasoning and aptitude, and particularly from the area age related questions. So, the right answer given there is option D, that is 18 years. Next question from people, development and environment. So, the question is eutrophication in a water body leads to which of the following, and you have the options: bloom of algae, increase in the level of dissolved oxygen, increase in turbidity and odour of the water body, difficulty in sustaining normal aquatic life, and finally deficiency of nutrients. So, from these given options you have to find out 3 right answers. So, we have given various combinations. So, the question is basically from the module people development and environment, and particularly from the area eutrophication in water body. So, it is associated with this water bodies and that particular area from people development and environment. So, the right answer for this question is option B, that is A, C and D only. Next question: the objective of exploring the existing literature should be to identify which of the following issues, and you have various options given here. What is already known about this area, what concepts and theories are relevant to this area, how to get funding for the research, what are the significant controversies in this area, are there any inconsistencies in the findings of this area. So, this question is from the module research aptitude, and if you find out the area from which this question is asked, this is particularly from reviewing the literature, right, from that area this question has came. So, if you know the various steps, the reviewing of literature is one of the most important steps in research, and the question asks us to find out the objective of exploring existing literature should be to identify which of the following issues. So, what is the main focus, or why are we reviewing the literature when we are doing a research? So, that is the question here, and you have various options given here as well. And if you consider the options, we have various combinations. Each combination consists of 4 different options as well. So, the right answer given for this question is option C, that is A, B, D and E only. A, B, D and E only. Okay. So, they have eliminated this particular option, that is C, and all other options can be considered as an answer for this particular question. Moving to the next question, this is from the module communication. Given below are 2 statements. 2 statements are given here. Statement 1 says a two-way communication takes place when the encoding and decoding are in operation with equal frequencies by 2 or more individuals, and you have statement 2, it says that the communicator and the communicatee are related by the communication circuits, and the success of communication depends upon the level of reciprocity between them, and you have various options here as well. So, if you consider these options, these 2 statements that are given here, you can easily say that both these statements are right. Correct, both the statements given here are correct. So, the right answer for this question is option A, that is both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. So, the right answer is option A. So, next we have another question. This question goes like this: who is the executive head of the National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA? So, this question is from People Development and Environment. So, we have to find out the executive head of the National Disaster Management Authority, and we have the options: a member of parliament appointed by the president, chief of the army staff, president of India, and finally Prime Minister of India. So, the executive head of the National Disaster Management Authority is none other than the Prime Minister of India. So, the right answer for this question is option D. Next question. Given below are 2 statements. Statement 1 says a culture of bacteria quadruples every hour. If a bottle with these bacteria was half full at 7 am, then at 6 am on the same day the bottle was 1/8 full. And statement 2 says the average of the first 31 natural numbers is 16.5. So, this question is from mathematical reasoning and aptitude, and we have various options given here as well, and the right answer given for this particular question is option D, that is statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. Moving to the next question, here we have a match the following question from the module communication. In list 1 we have given the various communication components, and in list 2 we have the descriptions as well. So, in communication components we have medium, channel, codes and content information, and in description we have facts, verbal and non-verbal signs, route by which the message travels, and physical means to transmit the message. So, in this particular question we can associate option A, that is medium, with option 4, that is physical means to transmit the message. Channel stands for the route by which the message travels. C can be associated with verbal and non-verbal signs, and finally content information can be associated with option 1, that is facts. So, A4, B3, C2 and D1 is option C. So, the right answer for this question is option C. Moving to the next question, this is from the module ICT, Information and Communication Technology. Given below are two statements regarding the hard disk drive. Statement 1 states, HDD use circular platters coated in magnetic material. Statement 2 says access to data is faster than with RAM. So, we have various options given here. If you consider the options here, we can say that statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. So, the right answer for this question is option D. Moving to the next question, again this is from the module Information and Communication Technology. Which one of the following is a part of the processor? And we have the options address bus, cache memory, control unit and database. So, which option can be associated with, or which option can be considered as a part of the processor? That is option C, control unit. Next question from the module Communication. Human communication involves, and we have the options patterns, social interactions, use of abstract meanings only, conflict oriented actions only, neural activities of the brain, psychological activities. So, this is a general kind of question. We have to find out the options, we have to understand the options, and we have to find out the most appropriate answer for the question that is given, that is human communication involves which of the following factors, and we have to find out 3 options as right, as we have given various options or various combinations. So, the right answer given for this question is option B, that is A, D and E only. So, the right answer is option B. Next question is from the module Logical Reasoning and particularly from the area Intent Logic. Anumana has been accepted as an independent source of valid knowledge by which of the following schools? So, when we have discussed about this different schools of philosophy, we have already mentioned about this particular area, right. So, we have to study the various schools of philosophy, and you have to find out the important sources of knowledge, or which are the sources which each of these schools of philosophy are accepting as valid sources. We have already discussed that. So, this question is a very direct question from that particular area. So, from the given options, which are the schools which are accepting anumana as an independent source of valid knowledge? So, that is the question. So, if that is the case, we have to find out the right answer for this question. So, if you consider the options, apart from this option C, all other schools are accepting anumana as a valid source of knowledge, right. In that case, we have A, B, D and E as the answer. So, A, B, D and E only is option C. So, the right answer for this question is option C. Next question, given below are two statements. Statement 1 says behavior theory does not concentrate on observable behavior. Statement 2 says behavior theory approach involves continuous inquiry. So, this particular question is asked from the module teaching aptitude. So, behaviorism or behavioral theory, these all areas or psychological theories are all coming under this particular module, that is teaching aptitude. And if you consider these two statements, we have to find out the right statements that are given, right. So, if that is the case, if you consider these two statements, statement 1, behavior theory does not concentrate on observable behavior, that is wrong, that is an incorrect statement. And statement 2 is right, behavior theory approach involves continuous inquiry. In that case, statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. So, the right answer for this question is option D. Next question from logical reasoning and particularly from the area square of opposition. So, we have two lists given here. List 1, we have in square of opposition, if some flowers are pink is false, if no girls are birds is true, if some boys are not tall is false, if all chocolates are sweet is true. So, basically they have given us various types of propositions, examples of various types of propositions in the first list. And it is given us if this particular statement, if we consider the option A, it says that some flowers are pink is false, then what are the options that you can pick out from this particular resultant that is given in list 2. So, that kind of a question. So, this is basically from the area square of proposition. So, first and foremost you have to find out the type of proposition that is given as an example in each of these options, and then you have to identify the idea or the concept that we have already learned in square of proposition. So, the resultant list 2 that includes I is false, O is true, A is false, E is true, I is true and O is false, E is false and I is true. So, if you know this square of opposition, the idea, the concept that we have learned in square of opposition, this is a very easy question for you to crack. So, anyway, this question has an answer, or the right answer for this question is option A, that is A2, B1, C4 and D3. So, the right answer is option A. Next question from higher education system. So, we have two statements given here. Statement 1 says, in Hansa Mehta committee made a recommendation that there is a need to make differentiation in the curriculum on the basis of sex. And statement 2 says that Bhaktavalsan committee recommended that the government and the public should both act jointly, realize their responsibilities and proceed in a planned manner with regard to education of girls in future. So, we have various options given here. We have to find out whether these statements are right or wrong, or is this or are these statements incorrect or correct. So, that is the question here. Anyway, both the statements that are given in the question are correct. So, the right answer for this question is option A. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Moving to the next question, we have given an example from the fallacy. So, this is again from the module logical reasoning. Identify the fallacy committed in the argument below. Some good actors are not strong men, all professional wrestlers are strong men, therefore, all professional wrestlers are good actors, and you have different options given as well. Fallacy of drawing affirmative conclusions from negative premise, fallacy of illicit major, fallacy of illicit minor, fallacy of undistributed middle. So, the right answer for this question is option A, that is given there. So, fallacy of drawing affirmative conclusion from negative premise. Next question, analogies have been used for which of the following purposes, and you have the options inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, description and explanation, and you have to find out the right answer from the option as well. You have to find out 3 options. So, this is basically you have given various combination. So, anyway, analogies is not directly, or analogies is not it cannot be associated with deductive reasoning. So, you can eliminate that option, B can be eliminated. So, A, C and D will be your answer. A, C and D is option C. So, the right answer for this question is option C. Next question is an assertion reason question. Assertion says a proposition is a statement about observable phenomena, concepts that may be judged as true or false. Reason says when a proposition is formulated for empirical testing, it is called a hypothesis. So, basically it is a kind of, we have to know about the meaning of proposition, as well as we have to connect with the idea of hypothesis as well. So, we have various options given here. So, if you consider the statements here, both the statements are correct, but we cannot say that the reason given here is a explanation of the assertion that is given. So, if that is the case, the right answer for this question is option D. Both A and R are correct, but R is not the correct explanation of A. So, the right answer given is option D. Next question is from people development and environment. Again, this is a statement wise question. If you consider the questions that we have examined or analyzed so far, we have a lot of assertion reason and lot of statement questions, right. So, this is again a statement question. Methanol, also known as wood alcohol, and has a much higher octane rating than gasoline. Statement 2 says that methanol burns with higher flame temperature than gasoline or diesel, thus it produces a higher amount of NOx. So, basically this is from the module people development and environment. So, the right answer for this question is option D, that is statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. The right answer is option D. Next question is from the module communication, a very easy, very direct question. Color as a means of communication has meanings that mostly emanate from one's own choices, culture, educational background and social status. We have discussed this aspect oftentimes in our discussions as well. So, color as a means of communication has meanings that mostly emanate from one's own culture, right. So, the right answer for this question is option B. Next question, identify the correct sequence for phases of personal growth in the non-directive interview process, and you have the options: develops insight, integration, release of feelings, action and new orientation. So, if you consider non-directive interview process, we have to find out the correct sequence of the various phases of personal growth. That is what it asked us to find out from this particular given options. The right answer for this question is option C, that is given there, C, A, D, B and E. So, next question is from the module ICT, Information and Communication Technology. Which of the following are popular software or apps used for conducting online conferences? And you have given various options as well. So, from these options we have to find out the various softwares or apps that we can use to conduct online conferences. We have to find out 3 options from the given 5 options. Okay. So, the right answer for this question includes A, B and D. So, A, B and D is option A. So, the right answer is option A. This question, the next question is from the module People Development and Environment. The primary treatment of wastewater involves removal of, and you have the options colloids, microorganisms, organic water and finally solids. So, basically as I have already mentioned, this particular question is from the module People Development and Environment. So, the primary treatment of wastewater involves the removal of solids. So, the right answer for this question is option D. Moving to the next question, given below are 2 statements. Statement 1 says, context of discovery involves non-rational intuitive process, while context of justification is based on logical processes. Statement 2 says that the process of hypothesis generation doesn't strictly follow rigorous logical reasoning. So, basically this question is from the module research aptitude. So, if you consider the statements here, we can say that both the statements are correct. Context of discovery involves non-rational intuitive processes, while context of justification is based on logical processes. This context of discovery basically means hypothesis generation. If that is the case, the process of hypothesis generation does not strictly follow rigorous logical reasoning. So, both the statements are true or both the statements are correct. Next question is actually a question that is associated with what we have discussed in the previous question, and we have to find out the correct combinations. Okay. So, we have various contexts given there and examples as well. In context, we have context of discovery. In the previous question, I have said that context of discovery means hypothesis generation. From that itself, we can identify the answer here. So, A is basically 3. Then we have inductive reasoning and abductive reasoning. So, this reasoning, types of argument. This reasoning part we have discussed both in research as well as in logical reasoning. So, you know it I guess. Inductive reasoning can be associated with one from the particular to a generalization. Abductive reasoning basically focuses on inference based on some observations. And then you have context of justification. This particular term again we have discussed or we have seen in the previous question, and that can be associated with option 2, testing or verifying the hypothesis. So, A is 3, then you have B, that is 1, then C is 4 and finally D is 2. So, A3, B1, C4 and D2 is option B. So, the right answer for this question is option B. Moving to the next question, this is again from the module People Development and Environment. Which of the following has positive radiative forcing or warming effect on the global climate? And we have the options stratospheric ozone, sulphate aerosol, sulfur dioxide and tropospheric ozone. So, we have already discussed about this difference in stratospheric ozone and tropospheric ozone in our classes. So, basically which is the ozone that causes radiative forcing or warming effect in the global climate? That is option D, that is tropospheric ozone. Next question, this is from the module ICT or Information and Communication Technology. Which of the following statements regarding modems are correct? And you have given various options, and from we have to find out a combination. Okay, so which are the options given? It is used to convert digital data into analog. It also converts analog data into digital data, sends the data packet to specific addresses, and finally inspects data packets received over the internet. And we have various combinations given as well. Anyway, the right answer given for this question is option A, that is A and B only. Next question is from the module Mathematical Reasoning and Aptitude, and one of the questions that we are expecting in every exam, the number series question. So, what comes next in the following sequence, and you have given different numbers, different terms in a sequence, and we have to find out the pattern that is hidden in this particular sequence, and we have to find out the next number. So, that is the basic idea of asking this type of number series question, right. So, the right answer for this question is option D, that is 321. Again, we are moving to the next question. This is from the module ICT, Information and Communication Technology. What is a disk defragmenter? And we have the options: carry out a backup procedure, check disk drives for empty space, compress data before writing it on the hard disk, rearrange blocks of data to store files in contiguous sectors. Contiguous sectors. So, the right answer for this question is option D, that is the option that we can see here, rearrange blocks of data to store files in contiguous sectors, that is option D. Moving to the next question, what is the name of the concept to describe the magnitude of gains from any given change in an educational practice, and thus to predict what we can hope to accomplish by using that practice? And we have the various options given as argumentation, effect size, empathy and pluralism, and the right answer for this question is option B, that is given there, effect size, that is option B. Next question is from the module Mathematical Reasoning and Aptitude. A vendor marks all his goods at 50% above the cost price and then offers a discount of 25% on the marked prices. What is his profit on the sale? So, this particular question is from the module Mathematical Reasoning and Aptitude and from the area Profit and Loss. And we have the options 12.50%, 20.50%, 22.50% and finally 25%. So, the right answer for this question is option A, 12.50%. So, here comes the next area. So, the next 5 questions are asked from this particular passage. So, comprehension. So, we have given a passage here and we have to identify the answers for the next 5 questions. So, if you want to read this particular passage, you can just pause the video and you can read it. Anyway, we are not going to read the entire passage right now. So, as I have already mentioned, if you want to read, you can just pause and go through the passage. And here you have the first question that was asked from the comprehension passage. Even now the nation state influences, and you have the options: its citizens, its imagined communities, the democratic process and finally the globalization concept. And the right answer given for this question is option C, that is the democratic process. Next question, the crux of the passage is that the internet, and you have the options: can help organize people's assemblies, can provide segmented experience of the world, has limited use in politics, is an all powerful medium. And the right answer given for this question is option A, can help organize people's assemblies. Alright. Next question, in what way can the internet play a role in modern society? And we have various options given that are being a substitute to traditional broadcast media, by playing a supportive role to conventional media, by shaping institutional public opinion, by taking an active part as a political institution. So, the right answer given in the professional answer key for this particular question is option C, that is by shaping institutional public opinion. Next question, internet is considered as a prime medium for it, and we have the options: better than the broadcast medium, far-reaching accessibility, possession as a technological medium, and finally promotion of a new type of democratization. So, the right answer given in the provisional answer key for this particular question from the area comprehension is option D. Alright. Here we have the last and final question that was asked for the English students in the afternoon shift in their general paper, and the question goes like this: what is the main weakness of the internet? And we have the options: electronic media is more powerful than the internet, it cannot produce a global sense of citizenship, it cannot substitute political institutions, and finally virtual citizenship is conterminous with national citizenship. So, the right answer for this question is option C, it cannot substitute political institutions. So, in this video we have analyzed the various questions, the 50 questions that were asked for the general paper for the English students in the afternoon shift. So, we have identified the areas from which they have asked questions this time for the English students in the afternoon shift, and we have mentioned the answers that are given in the provisional answer key for all these questions as well. So, we hope this video will be helpful for you. So, thanks for watching and happy learning.